Hello, everybody, and welcome to my new favorite holiday, Donald Trump's Arraignment Day. I am so happy to be here with so many talented activist comedians to laugh about something that really isn't that funny at all, the rise of fascism in America. Today, though, the New York Supreme Court found Donald Trump potentially guilty of 34 felonies for corrupt business practices and consorting with a very interesting romantic relationship that I'm sure at least one of you will make jokes about tonight. And the first person that I am happy to be chatting with is Matthew Filipovic, a comedian, cartoonist, satirist, the founder of Laughing Liberally, which is what brings us here together tonight. Hi, Matt. How are you this evening?
Hello, Jocelyn. I'm wonderful. How are you?
Very good. All right, so educate me. How do we bring down fascism?
With jokes and people in the streets, I would say.
Well, I like both of those things.
Yeah.
So, were you surprised? I think this is the day that we've all been waiting for a very long time.
I guess I was pleasantly surprised. Yeah, I wasn't entirely sure it ever would come. Generally, rich people don't pay consequences in our country, but yeah, I'm surprised. I'd like to see some heftier ones come down the way. Hopefully, Georgia and some of the election stuff would be coming through. But yeah, look, if they got Al Capone by by tax evasion, I'm totally fine with them getting Trump this way.
Is this the rule? We'll always get corrupt people through weird bureaucratic nonsense. I'm fine with it too.
Yeah, I'll totally take it.
So tell me about Laughing Liberally, and just generally, I think I'm going to ask everybody this. How can we use humor to fuel activism around this specifically, but around everything?
So Laughing Liberally is part of the larger Living Liberally network. Our main thing people probably know us from is Drinking Liberally, which are essentially happy hours where people get together and drink and talk about politics and commiserate together. Living Liberally is essentially the social arm of the progressive movement, and Laughing Liberally is one of those arms. They're essentially progressive political stand-up comedy shows that happen in different places around the country. I'm the host in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
I actually lived in Milwaukee as a kid. It's a great town. All right, so on the topic of lock him up, for people who don't know, could you explain what happened today and why we're all in such a good mood?
Well, so when a man and a prostitute pays a person a lot of money, what happens is eventually people find out about it and bribes happen. And then what happens is you got to find where you're going to pay for those bribes. And essentially they went to campaign money where he shouldn't have had it. He lied about it. And now he's being indicted. So fun times.
Look, as I've been saying a lot recently, he is not the first president to cheat on his wife, but he's probably the first president that had to pay for it. So right. We're just breaking records all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So, So what do you foresee happening next? I feel like I'm hearing a lot of people who think we're on the brink of civil war, and I hope that is not the case.
I mean, it wouldn't. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene wants civil war, right? So she wants a national divorce. We'll see what he does in his speech tonight, how he riles up his supporters and his cult. I'm not sure what's necessarily going to happen. I could see, they're kind of lazy, I guess, so maybe they won't actually show up. But they've shown violence, as we know, from January 6th. So I think it definitely could happen.
Well, amazing. So I hear you have some jokes for us. I am going to exit and make us laugh so we don't cry.
All right, sounds great. So I don't know about all of you, but who else has been drinking since noon, huh? Look, I'm not an alcoholic. I just feel it's important to mark and celebrate big events, things that don't happen every day, right? So we're witnessing history, the first ever president facing an indictment. That's pretty big. Personally, I enjoy it anytime a rich person faces consequences for their crimes. As I was saying with Jocelyn, it's rare, right? It's like seeing Halley's Comet, a total solar eclipse, or a good comic book movie from DC. Seriously, the rich avoid consequences so much, we should just codify it into law and make sort of like, I don't know, different tiers of justice, make it official. So like, kind of like when you're boarding an airplane, do you want the regular justice system, justice plus extra, justice plus elite, justice plus premium, justice plus platinum, or justice plus premium platinum? All of those above basic justice have perks and rewards. You earn points with every arrest, which hopefully will happen a lot in Donald Trump's future. So obviously, we're talking about later on tonight. He's giving his big post-arrest speech later on tonight. I'm sure that's going to go wonderful. I mean, he's already incited a coup. A month ago, he actually said, this is the final battle for America, like he's playing like a video game or something. He told his followers, I am your retribution. How do you top big things like that? How do you get bigger than that? You go even larger, just like, I am become death, destroyer of worlds. This is how the world ends, okay? Not with a bang, but with a whimper. It will be the greatest whimper, the loudest whimper. We're going to make whimpering great again. By the way, that's my shitty Donald Trump impression. I was so hoping to retire my crappy Donald Trump impression in 2020, but no. I've had a lot of people reach out to me lately and be like, Matt, you're a political comedian. Aren't you happy that Donald Trump's back in the news? Well, for starters, he never really left the news. These are the same people who always say things to comedians like, oh, Donald Trump, he sure makes your job easy, huh? Let me tell you, flat out, no. He does not. So let's pause a moment here. Let's go behind the scenes and see how the comedy sausage is made, shall we? So political comedians and satirists, what happens is we see something horrible in the world, and then we go to the land of make-believe, the land of unicorns and rainbows, and then we make up something worse to draw attention to the thing that's bad. Donald Trump starts at worse, at beyond worse. So here's an example. Back when he was president, I was actually writing a Trump joke, and my punchline was, what's Donald Trump going to do next? Is he going to deregulate asbestos? Literally the next day, he deregulated asbestos. Asbestos. What the hell's next? Rat poison? We need to deregulate rat poison so we can bring rat poison back to our children's lunches. Take that, Michelle Obama. God, I'm so tired of doing Trump impressions because I'm really bad at it, by the way. I apologize for it, but hey, you know, we go to war with the jokes we have, not the jokes we want. So another example, we all know that fracking is bad, right? So horrible for the environment, fracking. The Trump administration, when he was president, I promise I'm not making this up, Trump rebranded fracked gas as Freedom Gas. I'm not joking. It totally happened. An official .gov website actually read following, the United States needs to spread freedom gas across the globe. Let me ask you, what is a comedian supposed to do when your president makes your fart jokes for you? I mean, I think a lot of folks don't maybe seem to realize how much the political game has changed. Luckily, act.tv is not one of them. They still don't think there's going to be some point where Republicans are actually going to turn on Donald Trump. They'll be like, aha, finally, the indictment. That'll change their minds. I don't know. I don't believe that's happening because, again, like I was saying earlier, they're a cult. And he is their cult leader. When Donald Trump said he could shoot someone on the street in Fifth Avenue and not lose any support, I believe that was one of the very few times in recent memory that he wasn't lying. Not to get all guns and roses on you, but where do we go? Where do we go now? Where do we go from here? Even if Donald does go to jail, right? Which would be amazing, right? His cult of Proud Boys, his white supremacists are still out there. It's not like Donald Trump is a vampire, right? And if we stop the head vampire, all the other vampires just go poof and they're gone. We were talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene down in, by the way, Manhattan and New York City, and protesters. Thank you so much for booing her out of New York. That was amazing. But MTG, I like to call her Trumpbot 3000, right? She recently called for a national divorce between red and blue states. Some of you might be thinking, you know, we were talking about civil war. That sounds just like a civil war. She says, don't worry. It's not a civil war. It's just a legal separation. First question for me is, where would a national divorce leave me? I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a purple state. Who gets custody of us? Do we get to go live with Democratic Governor Tony Evers in the governor's mansion? Or do we have to go live with, I don't know, Republican Robin Voss in his crypt, because I assume that's where he lives? Do we get to go live with Auntie Tammy Baldwin in her condo, or Uncle Ron Johnson's conspiracy theory man cave? But it's not just MTG and the Proud Boys. We have Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, the boy who would be Trump because he really, really, really wants to be the next Donald Trump. If you think Donald Trump's a fascist, wait till you get a load of him. He's sort of like a right-wing hurricane just tearing through the state of Florida, doing as much horrible damage as he possibly can. I mean, you all know this. The last year alone, Don't Say Gay bill, Stop Woke Act. I'm surprised he hasn't signed the Women Are Stinky bill or the Seas Aren't Rising Act. Last month, he used Stop Woke to ban an AP course in European history. And no, wait, it wasn't European history. Was it Italian studies? No. German studies? No, that wasn't it. Oh, I remember. It was African American studies. Because of course it was African American studies. How's that for cancel culture, huh? When he was defending his horribly, blatantly racist policies, right? DeSantis gave a press conference in front of a sign, and I promise I'm not making this up. The sign literally read, Florida, the education state, which proves they clearly aren't teaching irony down in Florida either. I always like to ask my friends, if you had to choose, and you have to choose between a second Donald Trump presidency or Ron DeSantis presidency, which would you choose? To which my friends usually say, shut up, Matt, I'm just trying to have a beer. I realize it's sort of like asking, would you rather be eaten by a shark or would you rather be eaten by a school of piranha? Most people say a shark, right? Because I mean, sharks are cool. Hopefully it'd just be like, chomp, it's over, right? But as a lefty, I have to admit, I sort of admire the way piranha collectively work together to take down larger prey. So I guess what I'm saying is between Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis, I would say I would rather be eaten by a school of piranha, fight for 15, and Medicare for all. Everyone, I'm Matthew Filipovic. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm having such a great time.
Thank you so much, Matt. And TrumpBot 3000 is my new favorite name for Marjorie Taylor Greene. Thank you for being with us. Our next brilliant comedic mind is, Chastity Washington. She has appeared on NBC, HBO, BET, and is a regular at the Laugh Factory in Chicago. Hi, Chastity.
Hi, Jocelyn. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm great.
Good mood. I'm just like giddy over here.
I'm sure a lot of people are. I'm sure.
Well, I will let you get to the jokes, and here we go.
You know, I'm not as political as Matthew, as he so eloquently laid everything out on us in the TrumpBot 3000. I am not as versed. All I can say is, wow, not shocked, not at all. Because I mean, we all know in his heart he is probably a horrible human being. So, but you don't necessarily want to be, I'm cheering for somebody's downfall, but he's a horrible human being. And again, this is what we keep getting. He's the first American president to go before a judge, charged with a crime. Now, now we done had some questionable presidents. Okay, we done had some questionable presidents. I don't know. Nixon, George Washington stabbed somebody in the face somewhere. Okay, but they didn't get charged. He's the first one to get charged. But of course, because he's probably a horrible human being. And this is the thing, that you got indicted for this, right? For business crimes, right? For because you cheating with a porn star. I'm pretty sure he got the itchies also messing with a porn star. Ick. But listen, I don't know, y'all. I can't. I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised. But how do you get this one thing? You did like 15 other things. Other things. This is like you getting caught and going to jail for jaywalking, but after you done beat up, stabbed, and shot 4 other people. You know what I mean? Like, this is like you got the little one. The little one is what locked you up. I'm just okay, that's fine, because he's probably a horrible person. So, and then this is the only time I'll say that people are probably in line for jury duty. People can't wait to go. Normally you ducking and dodging it. You hoping that they can't find your license number. You pray that they don't. But people are in line ready for jury duty. I believe it. I can't speak. I'm not real political. I'm not. I'm not at all. I'm a teacher. right? And I work with kids every day, and I just see, you know, that we got to keep on the straight and narrow. We got to teach them the right way to do things. We can't teach them horrible human being stuff. You know what I mean? We got to, right? Especially after coming back from the pandemic. That was hard. Coming back from the pandemic was difficult, right? Kids came back fat. Okay. Some of them came back fat. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. They came back fat. One of the second graders, when he left second grade, when he came back, he was 57 years old. What are you doing at home? Did nothing at home. He was eating at the microwave door like I did the whole time. I was at home in the dark during the pandemic, rocking, crying, watching Undercover Boss. Just that's it. That's it. Just slowly walking through my house, back and forth, back and forth. My first trip to the grocery store, I was nervous because I didn't know who to trust. I was ducking and dodging. I was covering my face. Somebody sneezed. They was a murderer. Wasn't they a murderer? Wasn't they? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was difficult. When we came back to school, they put the precautions up, his screens up, and he talking about it ain't real. Really? People getting corona everywhere, and our whole school looked like a bank. We couldn't even get teachers to come back. People were leaving, changing jobs. We had one sub. She was 63. She was scooting through the building. She had sent her up in third grade. We get one call right in the middle. Within an hour, all we could hear is her name was Miss Rose. She's screaming on the walkie-talkie, help, help, help. We still ain't found Miss Rose. It's been 2 years. I think they hit her about a slide. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was difficult. So how do you say this ain't real and people ain't been through it? And he was fighting it when he had it. Then he want nobody to know. Then he was, it's not true. This is fake news. It's real. This is real, man. We deal with real stuff every day as teachers, as parents. So much. Like we don't even know what kids are talking about at this point. Kids have their own language. Right? I'm sure he has his own little language, his little cronies. They have their own little language. I was talking to a kid. He asked me, he was like, Miss Washington, is that your hair? I said, yeah. He was like, ooh, inches, facts, no cap, say less, period, boo. What are you saying? I think it's, it's the Takis. It's the Flamin' Hots. It's the hot chips. It's ramen noodles, y'all. It's ramen noodles. I blame it all on ramen noodles. Maybe that's what's making him crazy because he's probably a horrible human being. That's probably it. And what can we do? What can we do? All we, I just ask folks to make sure they get out and vote. Make sure you get out and vote because people can get it twisted. A couple of my students got it a little twisted. It was like, I like Trump hair. I'm like, do you? Why? I like dude hair though. Dude do his hair though. What that mean? I don't. So here we are. Here we are. So where do we go from here? Like I said, please make sure y'all get out and vote. Please make sure. Please make sure you treat people how you want to be treated. Right? Don't be a horrible human being. That's all. That's all I can really say. That's the only point I'm making. That's it. And the last thing, this is my other thing. Kids get twisted. This is the last thing I'm going to say. The kids get twisted. They get the wrong ideas about everything. One of my students, she was like, Trump said he was going to give us money. He should give us money so we can buy more shoes, bro. Okay, that's the last thing. I'm sorry. I'm done, Jocelyn. That's all.
Look, Chastity, first of all, I just want to say I'm a little offended. It's not just the kids that got fat during the pandemic. So that's the first thing I'm going to say. Second, have you considered running for office? Because Don't Be a Bad Person is an excellent platform that I would love to support. That's me, though. I don't know. I would love to vote for the Don't Be a Bad Person party.
Hello? That's all. That's it. That's it, right? That's all we need. Come on.
So where can people find you? Do you have like a Twitter? Where do you regularly perform?
I work all over the country. I work in all the clubs. I'll be at the Running Aces Hotel and Casino this weekend in Green Forest, Minnesota, right outside of Minneapolis, St. Paul. And you can go to my Facebook page, Chastity Washington 37, Instagram, Chastity_Washington, and I'm a tick and the talk, Chastity_Washington, where you can find all my dates and all upcoming events.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. This was awesome.
Our next comedian is Scott Blakeman, who is one of the founding members of Laughing Liberally and performs a solo show in Manhattan this Saturday. Where is this?
It's at Theater 555, which is actually owned by Eric Krebs, who is the dad of Justin Krebs, who is one of the founders, along with Eric, of Laughing Liberally.
Incredible. So people go to his show this Saturday, and Scott, I'll leave you to the roasting.
Well, thank you so much, Jocelyn. And it's great. This is you're from all over, DC and Chicago and Wisconsin. I was lucky enough to be in New York today, where I am. And it was a beautiful day in New York. And the weather was great, too. But the beauty was really in just what went on. And, as Matt was saying, it wasn't a good show for Marjorie Taylor Greene. People like her, they used to, this isn't Waco. It's not CPAC. It's Manhattan. And she got booed off. She did 5 minutes and was gone, and people like, but I have to say, we were talking before, this Saturday, I'm doing a solo show called What If at Theater 555 in Manhattan. And back in the fall, we did a show, Laughing Liberally. We did 16 shows called Indictment, Excitement. And we were a little ahead of our time. It took a few months, but it happened. And I don't want to brag, but I think that myself and all the other comedians on the show, we're the reason why Trump got indicted. I have to say that. But by the way, it was fun to be on a show called Indictment Excitement because, it was really the closest I'll ever get to fulfilling my parents' dream of my becoming a lawyer. So it was a big moment for me. And but today was it was a great day here in New York, and of course. Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she was here. I don't know if you saw 60 Minutes Sunday, not what I would call a probing interview by Leslie Stahl. It wasn't, because she really should have addressed the fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene is a white supremacist. I think she called herself a white nationalist. I love that. What's the difference between a white national? The only difference between a white nationalist and a white supremacist is a white nationalist is a white supremacist with low self-esteem. That's really the only difference. And I did go to Trump Tower today after he flew away, and I regretted going there a little bit, but they have a linen store, and they had a sale. It was actually a white supremacist sale. So I had to get something. I went in quickly and then I left. But it was great seeing Marjorie Taylor Greene ridden out of town. By the way, Manhattan is in particular, New York City is the worst place for MAGA people. First of all, no one wears red in Manhattan, so they stand out automatically. And it's not a good color for me either way. And plus the fact that she's never had that situation being around hostile people. George Santos was there. He claimed that he was the judge of the trial. He had to get in. They wouldn't let him in. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, of course, people like her and other white supremacists, in their speeches, they say, they didn't bring this up on 60 Minutes, but they will not replace us, which is really an anti-Semitic trope. In Charlottesville, they would say Jews will not replace us. And why is it that the people who say they will not replace us are the most replaceable people on the face of the earth? In fact, she was in a whole city of people who are going to replace her and all other ignorant people like her. So the indictments, there were 34 felony counts. And I think Trump is fundraising. It gets $1 million per count. He's actually raised $8 million since his first announcement of the indictments. So we'll see how it affects him. But and the main thrust of it is that he paid hush money to Stormy Daniels, a porn star, doesn't do porn anymore, but Karen McDougal, a Playboy model, and a doorman. Now, I'm not quite sure where the doorman fit in here. I see Stormy Daniels, he had an affair with her. He denies it, yet he still paid $130,000. Karen McDougal, Playboy model, affair, he denies it. The doorman, and I say this a little sheepishly because I've paid off doormen in my life too, because if you live in a doorman building in Manhattan, at Christmas time, you give them a tip. So in a sense, hopefully, the Republicans won't go after me for this, but I have paid off a doorman, but only because they're very nice people. So everybody was covering, the trial today, and of course it's going to drag on for months, I'm sure. And as Matt said, hopefully the Fulton County DA will come up with her indictment very soon. And that one is a huge one that you can't imagine how anybody could contest it, because he's on record as saying, I need 11,780 votes. Done. There's no case. That's the whole case right there. So, and hopefully with January 6th, also he'll be indicted for that as well. And because we need to focus on so many things facing this country. Ron DeSantis, of course, is hoping to become president. And, these people do exactly the opposite of what is right and humane. Literally a week to the day of the horrible shootings in Nashville, where 3 adults and 3 children were killed. Week to the day, Ron DeSantis signs his own bill that will make it easier for more people to carry guns anywhere they want to go. So that it's sort of this bizarre mentality. What's the best way we could stop the gun violence? How about give everybody guns and make it much easier? It's actually no permit needed in Florida and no training. And I could see DeSantis doing schlocky late night commercials. No permit, no training, no problem. In Florida, you can get a gun whoever you are. So it's a little dispiriting, but I'm an optimist. I was going to call my show Hopefully Funny, but then people might think, hopefully funny. I'm paying and he doesn't know. It's hopefully. But I think we have a lot to look forward to, I think. And there was some good news. The Senate is moving towards repealing the Iraq War Authorization Bill. And some might say it's slightly late. It's only 21 years after the fact, but never, better late than never, right? I'd love to see them pass the repeal the Iraq War Act, which will actually go back in time, maybe through AI, and bring back to life the hundreds of thousands of people who were killed because of us and the millions who've been displaced. I think that would be a nice thing. And and before we go, I just something that we need to focus on, as was said earlier, we need to get out and vote. And I love voting, and we need to, just pass important things. I like to see a true single-payer healthcare system. I think it would actually bring peace to the world. I think if, we should get the insurance companies out of healthcare and put them to work for the defense departments, because this would bring world peace. If Putin wants to have war with Ukraine, he should get Aetna to approve it. So I think that'd be a much better thing. Well, anyway, I'm Scott Blakeman. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the day.
As someone who's locked in a war with Aetna right now, I love that. You're solving all my problems, Scott. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jocelyn.
You can find him at Theater 555
this Saturday. You can check it, scottblakeman.com, and you can see all the information, but I'll be there. And you can listen to me on Center Clip, a new app where I do my audio commentaries as well.
Excellent. Do you have a TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, anything else you want to share?
Not TikTok, although I don't worry about it. I don't think it should be banned. I think, I have Instagram, Scott Blakeman 5, and Twitter at Scott Blakeman. And I'll come to your house individually and entertain too. I'm very flexible.
Door-to-door comedy tours. I love it. And register voters while you're there. Why not?
Happy to do that.
Awesome. Well, next up, I'm very excited to be speaking with very funny human, John Fugelsang, who is sold out America with his Sexy Liberals comedy tour. I think that's redundant. I think all liberals are sexy.
Oh, no.
And no?
Oh, no. Hate to tell you, but no.
Don't picture my illusions like that.
No, I played the role of tour. Stephanie Miller and Hal Sparks played the role of sexy on that one. I was just the tour. But there's a long list of unsexy liberals who are more attractive because of their humane positions.
So what you're saying is being liberal at the very least gives you a sexiness bump versus, some of Stormy Daniels' exes.
Listen, I think humanity is hot. I think empathy is hot. I think being able to name the 3 branches of government is hot. And so that's why liberals have a bit of an advantage. It's true.
Well, I can't argue with that. And very excited to hear some of your jokes on this very exciting, wonderful day.
Thank you, Jocelyn.
Take it away, John.
Thank you. This is great. This is not at all like having an AA meeting online. And thanks all the great performers who were here before me. Please tip your waitresses. They're at home. Go see Scott Blakeman's show, by the way. Hello. This is the strangest thing I've ever done. I hope you can hear me. I hope this is working out all right. I really miss Zoom comedy. Don't you? Wasn't that great when we would just watch a bunch of comics sitting at their desks, telling their jokes to no one, and we were terrified of going outside and catching COVID? It was a good time. You know, I grew up in the 80s. So to me, my goal watching TV as a child was to one day star in a Beirut hostage video. And that's what Zoom comedy has really done. But we're here to talk about Donald Trump's return to New York City, or as I call it, welcome back, plotter. It's awful. Americans are so divided on this. Half of the people I talk to are calling Trump's plane Perp Force One, and the other half I talk to are calling it Con Air. And it's like, we don't need to be this divided, people. We can have different views. It's okay. But I do want to say, we as a people have to stop referring to this as the first American president to ever be indicted, and start referring to it merely as Trump's first indictment, because that's all it really is. And this will seem very quaint when he's indicted later this year by Georgia and later this year by the Department of Justice for January 6th and for stealing all those documents as well. So Trump said that he had been indicated. He said in his website, Filth Social, that he had been indicated. And we all made fun of him because he can't spell indicated, but the laugh will be on us when he's finally indicted. I always like to ask when I'm doing a show like this, who's a Trump supporter, and I like to take the temperature of the room, and Biden as well, who's a Biden supporter, because I think, look, I'm not a Democrat, but I think Joe Biden will go down as one of our more compassionate presidents, and I think Trump will go down on Vladimir Putin. And that's the kind of sophisticated political material that you'll hear when you come to one of my shows. The exact same amount of laughter you hear here as well. Now, here's the deal. Kid Rock is in the news today because I know, right? Kid Rock, my generation's Leonard Cohen. He's very angry that Budweiser entered into a partnership with a transgender influencer. And so what Kid Rock decided to do, millionaire at birth that he is, was to buy a couple of cases of Budweiser beer and then shoot them with his assault rifle and film it. So we all know he has a micro penis. Now, I like that because once again, he's continuing the proud right-wing tradition of not boycotting something, but buying the product so they already have your money and then shooting it with a gun. And that's how Darwin was wrong. Look, here's the deal. Kid Rock has said that he might run for the Senate in Michigan. Yeah, Kid Rock, our Leonard Cohen. And if he does run, brothers and sisters, I promise you, I will run against him after changing my name to Kid Paper. And that's my promise to you. Look, I'm a comedian. So for me, I have very mixed feelings on Trump. On the one hand, he's loathsome and he's a corrosively dishonest racist who grabs women by the pussy. But also it's more than that. For me, it's great because the media needs him, because the media needs conflict. That's what they need, conflict, and they need commercials for dick pills. Those are the two things that, have you noticed? Has anyone watched our cable news recently? It is nothing but erectile dysfunction drugs. I'm serious. We're like the US of ED. Other nations visit us and watch our news and believe us to be a nation of limp dicks. Fox, you're not hard enough. CNN, you're not hard enough. MSNBC, you're not hard enough. I'm like, dude, I'm watching Sean Hannity, Wolf Blitzer, and Al Sharpton. I don't want to be any harder than I am already. But for Donald Trump, someone who's always fighting everyone, who's just fighting everyone. Yeah, he's fighting Democrats, but he's fighting women and Latinos and African Americans. He's fighting the cast of Saturday Night Live. He's fighting the Freedom Caucus. He's fighting our allies. Remember his fighting John McCain? Oh my God. How and Lindsey Graham and the Pope, the nice Pope, his holiness versus his assholiness. And what was the Pope's problem, huh? What did the Pope say that so upset Trump? All the Pope said was, anyone who wants to build walls instead of bridges is not a Christian. Friends, that's not controversial. That's the New Testament. But Trump had the best response. Remember his line? He said, yeah, well, who the hell is this Latino sneaking across the Italian border to take a Pope job away from a real American? Am I right? Am I right? Let me tell you about Crooked Christ, okay? Crooked Christ says he's Jesus of Nazareth, but he's born in Bethlehem. So which one is it? We don't know. He built my casino in the Sea of Galilee. He's a carpenter. I didn't pay him. Shoddy work. Shoddy Jesus. It's okay. He's a Jew. Those people know how to sue. All I'm saying is this guy's 33, never married, hangs out with 12 other guys. I'm just saying. Clearly, I don't do a Trump impression. And I admit that freely. I don't do a Trump impression. What I do is my Trump goes like this. I look at my Marlon Brando. My lady or Marlon Brando and Trump have a lot in common. Yeah, they both just want to be on an island and eat a lot of food and have sex with underage girls. It's natural. So I look at my Marlon Brando and then I get him hooked on Adderall. And suddenly I've got Brando on speed. And once I've got that, I give him a code. And that is the perfect storm of Marlon Brando, amphetamine, and mucus for my Donald Trump impression. Okay? Okay. So, and a special shout out to all the Trump Christians. I love that. The only way that you can be a Trump Christian is if you've never read either of their books. Because I don't know if you know this, but the only thing Donald Trump and Jesus have in common, they both hung out with hookers and they both used ghostwriters. But I just want to leave you with this. Trump's going to die someday. You know that, right? This will all end. Like, we're not going to watch this for, I don't know what MSNBC is going to use for ratings, but he will die. Those hideous anus-like lips will stop flapping. The posts will end. He will be quiet. He will be. Now, I don't want him to die. I don't want him to suffer. I want 3 ghosts to visit him on Christmas Eve and turn him into a good person. But Trump will leave us. Someday it will happen. He will ascend. He will go before St. Peter, and then he will find what extreme vetting really means. And then we'll watch the funeral on TV, and you got to stay alive for Trump's funeral. Take good care of yourself. You want to be there. You have to see Trump's funeral because Melania is bringing a date, right? I mean, that's going to, Frank Stallone's going to sing. There's going to be Vladimir Putin is going to come and shake the casket and go, bitch, where is to be my money? You can't, I mean, Scott Baio's probably going to be a pallbearer. You got to watch it. And again, I don't want anything bad to happen to Donald Trump. I'm not here to pee on his grave. He might like it. My point is this. I'll leave you with this. Trump's fraud with Stormy Daniels is the most shocking case of Trump fraud since the Trump Organization fraud and the Trump University fraud and the Trump Foundation fraud. But real Americans know it's all a liberal hoax to make him commit more fraud. So I just want to say, as a Christian, I just want to remind you that Jesus was a gun-loving nationalist, and he was against abortion, against immigration, against labor unions, against gay rights and communists. Oh, wait, did I say Jesus? Oh, I'm so sorry. That was Hitler. I'm sorry. Jesus was against none of that shit. That was all Hitler and MAGA. Thanks for being here, guys. What a great pleasure. Back to you, Jocelyn.
Well, I love the idea of, look, there are a lot of similarities between Christ and Trump, and I don't know whose ghostwriter is worse. I mean, that would be a toss up for me, John.
Yeah, I would say that Jesus has a lot of fans who don't know what he actually taught, and those are the Trump fans too. I
would agree with that. Well, thank you so much for being with us tonight, everybody. I've had a blast.
Happy Indictment, everyone.
I can't wait to do this again soon. And hopefully the next time we all celebrate together, it will be because there will be a beautiful picture of Trump and handcuffs, and there will be no violent response, and everybody will vote. The climate will be saved, and this wonderful country will be great again. But like in the way we mean that, not in the way they mean that. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night.